What's up, guys? This is Anime Crossover. I'm back with another episode of What If Naruto Was the Red Flash Part 10. And if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like for the next part. And if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more crossover fictions with a twist. Now let's begin this new video.
The Pied Piper is agitating the stew. The group attempted to narrow down Shawna Baez's and Clay Parker's last known addresses, but they were unsuccessful. Cisco left to follow a lead while Barry and Joe learned from Barry's father in prison that Clay Parker owed money to a gangster named Marcus Stockheimer. Clay had to pay his debt now that he was out of jail before he could leave. Naruto and Dr. Wells were devising methods to track and capture Shawna, while Cisco, despite Caitlin's warning, decided to investigate Hartley's claims. He claimed to know what had happened to Ronnie, so Cisco slapped him with cuffs and led him out of the building. "You said you'd show me what happened to Ronnie. Ronnie died inside the building. What are we doing out here?" Cisco inquired. "What do you notice?" Hartley inquired. "I'm not sure. Buildings, walls, dirt," Cisco said as they walked along the building's side. "Wells would be so disappointed in your ability to observe. Take another look," Hartley said as Cisco noticed a shadow imprinted on a wall that resembled a man. "Bakuden no Cage," Hartley explained in Japanese. "How can you speak 6 languages and sound like a jerk in each one?" Cisco inquired. "It stands for bomb shadow. After the first atomic bomb was dropped, they discovered these all over Hiroshima. This was Martin Stein's shadow," Hartley explained. "Did he get this from the accelerator explosion?" Cisco inquired. "Do you really not see it? You'll kick yourself when you figure it out," Hartley predicted. "Oh, man. You were full of it back then, and you still are. This is just another of your pathetic tricks. Come on, people." Cisco said Hartley elbowed him in the face. He threw a punch, but Cisco dodged and punched Hartley in the face. He threw him into the wall and then onto the ground. Cisco threw a kick, but Hartley caught it and pushed him away as he tried to run, but Cisco pulled out a device and pressed a button. Hartley immediately felt a high-pitched screeching in his ears. "You're not the only one who understands vibrations, Hartley. I made you cochlear implants. I made a few changes," Cisco explained. "Please don't," Hartley yelled as the pain became unbearable. "If you know where Ronnie is, you better tell me right now," Cisco said. "Please put a stop to it. Please." As Cisco deactivated the button, Hartley said, "I'll show you. Do something similar again, and I'm not going to stop it ever," Cisco said. "I'm blown away. I didn't think you had that in you," Hartley said as he had an idea, "but if you want to find out the truth, you have to take these off me." "Why is that?" Cisco inquired. "We'll be a little conspicuous where we're going," Hartley warned. Caitlin had some information for Barry and Naruto, so they returned to Star Labs. "I put Shawna and Clay's information into a search matrix, and that will notify us if they use any of their old aliases or go to any of their old spots," Caitlin said as Naruto nodded. "Is there something bothering you?" Brian inquired. "Why would you ask?" Caitlin inquired. "You're doing that thing where you bite your lower lip when something bothers you," Barry said as Caitlin cleared her throat. "I'm fine," she said, nodding to Barry. "Cisco says I don't have a life." "You don't technically, do you?" Naruto inquired, smirking. "I do. I cook, eat, read, and assist you too," Caitlin explained. "So you're saying you do everything that has nothing to do with having a life," Barry explained. "You don't have to be rude about it," Caitlin said, laughing. "Hey, I'm not much better than you. My social life consists of superhuman speed running and Netflix," Barry explained. "We make quite a pair, Mr. Allen," Caitlin remarked. "Yes, Dr. Snow," Barry responded. "Both of you are making me sad right now," Naruto said, looking at them. "Well, not everyone can have a happy relationship with a girl who is also a meta," Barry explained. "Touché. But I had a life even in college," Naruto said as he sat in a chair and looked at them. "I mean, didn't you guys go out and have fun? Attend parties or bars? How about meeting new people? Do you go on dates?" "Kind of," Barry replied. "It's been a while," Caitlin commented. "It's exactly like riding a bike. All you have to do is try, and it will return," Naruto said as the computer beeped. "What's the matter?" Barry inquired as Naruto mentioned a police emergency. "An armed robbery is taking place. 2 suspects, both in their 20s, male and female. It appears that our metahuman Bonnie and Clyde are back at it," Caitlin said. "Time to ruin their social life," Barry said as he grabbed his suit and dashed to the location, followed by Naruto. Clay and Shawna were robbing an armored truck from Black Hawk Security to pay off Marcus Stockheimer's debt. Shawna used her powers to overpower the guards, cuffing them with their own handcuffs while Clay held them at gunpoint. Just a couple of bags, baby. Enough to repay Marcus, Clay explained. These things are heavier than they appear. Shawna smirked as she teleported to her car and placed the bags in the trunk. Flash went to stop Shawna while Impulse grabbed Clay. When he saw Clay holding the guards at gunpoint, he ran by and swiped the gun from his hand. What the hell is going on? Clay asked as Impulse ran by and punched him in the face, sending Clay flying through the air and landing like a sack of potatoes. Impulse then reached down and vibrated the cuffs off the guards. Are you two all right? When Impulse saw Shawna teleport around some buildings with Flash running after her, it was as if they were playing a game of catch the leader. Shawna then teleported back to her car to grab the money and leave, but the Flash appeared in front of her. A white and crimson blur then ran in front of her and knocked her back and through the air, knocking her unconscious as Impulse ran up and slapped cuffs on her. I had that, Flash explained. Sure you did, Impulse joked as he grabbed Clay and sped him to the CCPD, where he was arrested and returned to jail, while they took Shawna to Star Labs and locked her in a cell with a reflective material so she couldn't teleport out. Anyway, she can teleport out of this? Asked Naruto, Barry, Caitlin, and Dr. Wells as Shawna attempted to teleport but ended up back in the same spot. Brian inquired. No, on the other side, it's one-way glass that's completely reflective. That was something Dr. Wells and I came up with. She's not going anywhere anytime soon, Naruto said as Barry nodded. Naruto pressed a button, and the pipeline was shut down. I think that has to be our fastest metahuman takedown, Caitlin said. It wasn't that difficult. While I was taking her out, Barry kept her occupied. Excellent teamwork, Naruto said as he gave Barry a high five. Dr. Wells said as they nodded, impressive work, gentlemen. It was fortunate that you acted when you did. Shawna just kept teleporting away from me. It was as if we were playing a game of peek-a-boo, Caitlin said as they looked at her. Not bad, Naruto commented. Well, everyone, congratulations on a job well done. I think we can call it a night, Dr. Wells said as he walked away. Or maybe a late one. Why don't we all get a drink and hang out? Make some sort of normal life outside of Star Labs? Come on, Naruto said, as Barry and Caitlin laughed. Shawna's list of hangouts included a karaoke bar that Linda frequents. Let's get something to drink. Sorry, I have to help Iris with something, Barry said as he walked away, while Naruto and Caitlin exchanged glances. Isn't that unhealthy? Naruto inquired. What? What about not going out or pining for Iris when she's with someone else? Caitlin inquired. What about the latter? Naruto inquired. No, that's not good for you, but I think a night out would be fun, Caitlin said, smiling at Naruto. Okay, what about Cisco, then? What happened to him? Naruto stated, I haven't seen him in hours. I'm not sure. Perhaps he had something to do with it, Caitlin said as she walked away. I'll meet you there. Naruto smiled as he walked to the Cortex and saw the gauntlets he was working on for Linda. He planned to finish them later, but he'd give them a rest tonight. He grabbed his phone and dialed Linda's number. Hello, amazing girlfriend who lights up every room she walks into, both figuratively and literally, Linda answered, causing Naruto to chuckle. Hello, lovely. I think there's something wrong with your voice message because it didn't include the words beautiful or gorgeous, Naruto commented as he heard her chuckle. I just wanted to hear it from you. So, what's the deal with the call? She inquired. I was wondering if you had any plans for tonight. Perhaps we should go to that karaoke bar you love so much, Naruto suggested. Linda responded, yeah, that sounds great. Alright, if Caitlin comes along? Naruto inquired. That is not a problem. What's going on? Linda inquired. Cisco said something about Caitlin not having a social life, so we're trying to get her back out there, Naruto explained. Well, I'm all in. Linda said, I'll meet you there in 30 minutes. See you there, lightning rod, he said, sighing. It's still not working, Naruto, she explained as she hung up the phone. Huh, I think it's cute, Naruto said as he returned to the shelter for a quick shower and change of clothes, putting on some nice shoes, jeans, a black button-up, and a jacket. He finished up some chores at the shelter and helped Tsunade make dinner in the span of a second before making his way to the bar when he received a call from Barry. Hey, Naruto, Barry said, hearing Naruto sigh, is that invitation to the bar still open? Of course, yeah. What's the problem? Naruto inquired. Iris didn't need my help tonight, Barry explained, so I could use a night out with some friends. Indeed, dude. I'll text you the address, Naruto said as he texted Barry the location. Naruto dashed to the bar and took a seat, ordering a whiskey as Barry and Linda arrived shortly after. Barry ordered a gin and tonic and Linda a glass of wine, and they all relaxed and enjoyed themselves as they listened to some guy singing Working for the Weekend by Loverboy, which was funny. "You've got to be kidding," Barry said. "I'm not." Linda had red hair, Naruto commented as Barry chuckled and punched him in the shoulder. "In high school, I went through a punk rock phase. And, to be fair, it was red highlights rather than red hair," Linda explained as she sipped her wine. "I still can't picture Linda Park as a dark brown woman with red hair and a guitar," Barry said. "It was just a phase, and I got over it in college. And I'm glad I did because it'd be difficult to be taken seriously at CCN with red streaks in my hair," Linda explained as she held her hair up. "Well, I believe I missed something. You looked cute with your red hair," Naruto said as Linda kissed his cheek. "And you looked ridiculous with your short hair," Linda pointed out. "Short hair?" Brian inquired. "Naruto showed me an old middle school photo of himself with short hair and no spikes. And he looked like a little blonde-colored egg," Linda said as Barry laughed. "And what about your past regrets, Barry?" Naruto inquired. "Oh, I'm keeping my mouth shut," Barry said as he sipped his drink as Caitlin walked in wearing a stunning black beaded long-sleeve mini-dress. "Whoa," Naruto exclaimed, as he and Barry were taken aback. "What?" Caitlin inquired. "What? Nothing, just. You look really nice," Barry said. Caitlin sat down and said, "I don't always dress like a high school principal." "So, this is where you and Linda like to go?" Barry inquired of Naruto. "I've always enjoyed coming here," Linda said. "Great atmosphere, nice people, good drinks, and the karaoke is entertaining. And while I can't sing to save my life, I've grown to like this place," Naruto said as he sipped his whiskey. "I figured we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone tonight. Have a fun night out and get your 2 social lives in some sort of order." Caitlin laughed as Barry sighed. "Everything all right, Barry?" Linda inquired. "I keep making the same error. Every time Iris falls, I rush to pick her up, hoping that things will change one of these days, but they never do. I'm just destined to be a friend," Barry explained. "Well, I've gotten to know Iris at work, and if she can't see what a great guy you are, it's probably for the best. Who knows, maybe someone else is out there for you. I'd ask you out if Naruto and I weren't together," Linda said as Barry and Naruto looked at her. "Really?" Brian inquired. "Sure," Linda responded. "You're adorable." "I'm sitting here." Linda chuckled and kissed his cheek as Naruto said, "Right next to you." "Don't be concerned, baby. I only have you in my sights," she said as she kissed him again. "At least you're not pining for someone who bursts into flames and refuses to have anything to do with you," Caitlin said, shaking her head. "What is the matter with us? We're in our 20s. We should be having a good time. We should meet people and go on lots of dates," Barry suggested as Caitlin took his drink. "Well, here's to liquid courage," Caitlin said as she finished it. "Whoa," Linda exclaimed. "You drank it all," Barry observed as Caitlin waved to the waitress. "Please excuse me. I'd like to start a tab," Caitlin said, smiling. "I have a bad feeling about this," said Naruto. The night progressed as the 4 friends drank, ate, and enjoyed themselves. Barry and Naruto were completely fine because regular alcohol had no effect on them. Linda was also fine, only on her 2nd glass of wine. And Caitlin was definitely tipsy. "Excuse me, could I get some water?" Barry asked as he approached the bar. "Yo," Barry asked the bartender, who was completely ignoring him. "Dude. Mr. Barry Allen. Come on in, or up," Caitlin exclaimed as she took the stage for karaoke, clearly a little tipsy. "I'm not going," Barry said as he motioned her to come to a halt. "Go, Barry," Naruto said, encouraging Linda. "Please come up here with me. Come show him what you've got. Come on, people, Barry. Barry, 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 Barry." Caitlin began to chant, and the rest of the bar followed suit, and Barry relented and joined Caitlin on stage. "Ooh, look at him go. He's so quick." "Shish, shish. You know I'm not a singer, and you're not a singer," Barry admitted. "We're going to bring this place down," Caitlin declared. "Okay, just. Good girl," Barry said as the music began to play, Summer Nights from Greece. Caitlin said, "Get ready," as the lyrics appeared and she sang a little off-key. "Summer lovin' had me a blast, summer lovin' happened so fast. I met a girl crazy for me," Barry sang perfectly and on key, surprising Naruto, Linda, and Caitlin. "I met a boy as cute as a button," she sang. "Summer days drifting away to, oh, those summer nights." Naruto began recording and he definitely wanted to show Cisco. Speaking of Cisco, where the hell was he? Naruto called him again, but he still wouldn't pick up. Maybe he was in some kind of trouble, so Naruto activated a tracker app to see if it could narrow down his location. While Cisco was being tracked down by his phone, Naruto and Linda joined Barry and Caitlin at the bar. "What are you incapable of doing?" Caitlin inquired, taking a sip from her drink. "Stop drinking, apparently," Barry said. "I'm not even sure that was mine," Caitlin admitted, "and I need to use the restroom." Linda raised her eyebrow as Caitlin walked away. Linda replied as she walked away, "I'll go with her." Naruto replied to the bartender, "Not bad up there, Barry. Hey, Steve, could you please close my tab?" But, just as the bartender ignored Naruto, a woman approached Barry at the bar. "Hey, Stevie, can they settle their bar tab?" she inquired. "Sure thing, Ino," he replied as Naruto froze. "Ino?" Naruto questioned, looking around and seeing his old friend Ino. He recognized her the moment he saw her long blonde hair, which reached her waist and constantly covered the right side of her face, revealing only one of her blue eyes. She was dressed in a purple jacket, an off-the-shoulder white shirt, and black pants. "Hey there, Naruto. Long time no see," Ino replied, noticing Naruto's amazement. "Oh my god, it's been forever," Naruto remarked as he came over to her and hugged her. He scooped her up and whirled her around while she giggled, and Barry was perplexed until he recognized her from a photo of Naruto's pals on Naruto's Facebook page. "What exactly are you doing here?" "I'm just looking for some arm candy," Ino explained. "What happened to Sai? Didn't things work out?" Naruto inquired. "We're taking a break," she explained. Naruto apologized. "Oh, sorry about that." "It's fine. We just had different goals. He went to New York to pursue his art career," Ino explained. "How are you doing? It's been a while since we've seen each other." "Yeah, a lot has changed. For one thing, I went back to school and got my degree, and I've been working part-time for the CCPD as a CSI," Naruto explained. "And he's gotten really good," Barry remarked, smirking. "Thank you once more for capturing his attention." "You're welcome, Barry," Ino answered, perplexed. "How do you know my name?" Barry inquired. "Barry. Barry. Barry," Ino chanted as Barry grinned. "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that," Barry admitted. "Are you kidding? I've seen dozens of people go up there and subject my ears to torturous singing, and you made them very happy tonight," Ino laughed. Naruto noticed Ino flirting with Barry and gave them some space while he paid his bar tab. "So, that girl, was she your girlfriend?" "Her? Oh, she was just a friend. She's been through a lot lately and hasn't gone out in a long time," Barry explained. "I guess it must have been a fun night," Ino commented as Barry laughed. "I guess so," Barry said. "So, do you work at the CCPD?" Ino inquired. He said, "Yeah, as a CSI. You're kind of young for that, aren't you?" she remarked, chuckling. "You're not the first person to say that to me, but it's something I'm good at. How about you?" Barry inquired. "I work as a botanist at the Central City Conservatory Gardens, mostly researching and categorizing plant species for pharmaceutical use and some for research labs," Ino explained. Barry responded, "Wow. So, how did you meet Naruto?" inquired Ino. "A friend of a friend introduced us, and we've grown close," Barry explained. "I'm glad. Naruto's a great guy, and he went through a lot after his parents died. It's nice to see him back to his old self," Ino added, taking out a piece of paper and scribbling something. "And Naruto has excellent taste in friends." She stood up as Barry looked at the piece of paper she handed him. "What's this?" Barry inquired. "My number. Whether or not you call me is up to you. Bye, Barry." As she walked out of the pub, Ino winked at him. As Naruto approached him, Barry saw her go away. "She's got something, isn't she?" Naruto inquired as Barry nodded. Barry said, "Yeah. That's Ino for you, and she must like you because she gave you her phone number. What are you going to do with it?" Naruto inquired. "Not sure yet," Barry said as Naruto's phone rang. He examined it, and Cisco's phone's tracker app showed him at CCPD. "What the hell? Barry, there's something I need to look into. Can you tell Linda something came up?" Naruto inquired. "Sure, everything okay?" Barry inquired. "Not sure yet," Naruto answered as he walked out of the pub, just as Caitlin and Linda returned. "Barry, I'm not feeling well," Caitlin admitted. "All right," Barry said as he sped them out of the bar and into the parking lot where Caitlin puked. "It's fine," Linda murmured, rubbing her back while Barry held her hair up. "Let it all hang out." Cisco was at CCPD because Hartley claimed there was evidence of what happened to Ronnie there. To ensure that no one recognized Hartley, Cisco removed his shackles and gave him a hat. They were at Barry's lab, accessing files on his computer. After the particle accelerator explosion, CCPD took everything from Star Labs, including video, audio, and traffic cam footage, Hartley explained. "Okay, so?" Cisco inquired. "I saw Martin Stein the night Star Labs went boom. He walked right past me." You see, Stein specialized in transmutation, molecular transmography, quantum splicing, taking two things and making them one. Hartley said, leading Cisco, but he didn't grasp it. Let's go to the videotape, shall we? Cisco viewed the video feed and noticed Professor Stein holding what appeared to be some strange equipment. They gradually accelerated the footage till he was hit by the accelerator energy. His eyes turned white, just like Ronnie's, Cisco explained. Now, stop there, Hartley commanded, and Cisco saw the corporeal picture of Ronnie in the surge of energy that impacted Professor Stein. Ronnie, the dark matter merged them, Cisco explained. Explains why Ronnie hasn't seemed himself lately. It's because he isn't. He's Martin Stein, Hartley remarked as he yanked out his cochlear implant and smashed it, causing a high-pitched shrieking that brought Cisco to his knees in anguish. Ah! Cisco exclaimed, covering his ears. You can't say I didn't keep my end of the bargain, Hartley stated as he crushed the gadget Cisco used. He then punched Cisco in the stomach. I figured that made us equal, Steven. Goodbye. A blur shot past Hartley as he was about to depart, sending him falling back across the floor. When he saw Naruto standing there, Hartley groaned in anguish. You just never learn, do you? Naruto said as he sped up to Hartley and unleashed speed punches all over him, hitting him in the face and torso as Hartley couldn't respond and was pounded. Naruto then delivered one final hit to Hartley's face, knocking him out. Naruto only stared at him as he approached Cisco and heard the high-pitched shrieking. He stomped on the implant on the ground, shattering it and halting the sound. Are you okay, Cisco? Naruto inquired as he helped him up. I think so, Cisco stated as Naruto nodded. How'd you find me? Naruto displayed his phone to demonstrate how it had tracked Cisco's phone to CCPD. Thank goodness I'm an inquisitive person, or I wouldn't have come, Naruto remarked, looking at Hartley. I'll get him back into the pipeline. XXXXX line break. Barry and Linda were waiting for Caitlin outside the elevator the next morning. They drove her home after the pub, helped her to bed, and checked on her. They were sipping their coffee beside the elevator when the doors opened and Caitlin strolled in, holding a cup of coffee and wearing a jacket, scarf, and heavy sunglasses. Caitlin jumped a little, so Barry said, "Hi." "Oh, so loud," Caitlin complained as Barry laughed. "Oh, I just wanted to make sure you were all right," Barry explained. "Let's just say I envy your ability to stay sober. I don't remember much from last night," Caitlin commented as they walked down the corridor slowly. Linda remarked, "That's probably for the best if you don't, Caitlin." Caitlin winced as Barry remarked, "Summer lovin'." "Oh, that I remember," Caitlin exclaimed as Linda and Barry laughed. They entered the cortex to find Cisco standing in the middle of the room with a shameful expression on his face, with Naruto and Dr. Wells staring at him. "What's wrong?" inquired Barry. "Hartley almost escaped last night," Naruto revealed. "He got out of the pipeline. How is that even possible?" Barry wondered. "He didn't. I let him out," Cisco said to Caitlin. "Are you mad? I can't tell with those glasses on." "I'd like to yell and wave my arms, but I'm afraid I'll puke," Caitlin explained. "Why?" Barry asked. "What were you thinking, Cisco? You know how dangerous he is." Cisco stated, "Hartley said he knew what happened to Ronnie. I told you to let that go because I didn't want you looking into it for me," Caitlin explained as she removed her sunglasses. "I wasn't doing it for you. I sealed Ronnie into the accelerator before it blew. He told me to wait 2 minutes, and I waited, but he didn't come back. And I can't stop thinking, 10, 20 seconds in. Ronnie wouldn't be like he is now," Cisco admitted, looking at Caitlin, feeling absolutely awful. "I've wanted to apologize to you so many times." "So, you carried that around this whole time?" Caitlin asked as she followed Cisco around. "Do you know what Ronnie would say if he were here? He'd say you did the right thing. It wasn't your fault. What happened that night wasn't anybody's fault." Caitlin hugged Cisco, who hugged her back. Caitlin laughed as Naruto replied, "Ah. Now that that's out of the way, Caitlin, I think you could use this." Naruto handed her a little water bottle filled with a green liquid. "What exactly is this?" Caitlin inquired. Naruto handed it back to him and added, "Pickle juice." "What? It's Tsunade's hangover cure. This or hot sauce in a raw egg." "You're making that up, right?" Barry inquired. "I wish I was," Naruto murmured, looking at Caitlin, who nodded. "There's something else, Naruto," Cisco added. "What? Did you just let out another meta?" Naruto inquired. "No, Hartley said he knew what happened to Ronnie, and he's right. But he also said he knew something about you," Cisco replied. "Like what? How many times has he irritated or insulted me in my life?" Naruto asked as he sipped his coffee. "No, when Hartley told me he knew what happened to Ronnie, he also said that your parents' death was more than a drunk driving accident," Cisco added as Naruto froze for a second. "Naruto? Linda shouted out as she approached him. "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" Naruto questioned. "I didn't think he was telling the truth. I mean, it's Hartley. It could have been a ruse," Cisco stated as Naruto rubbed his hair, trying to digest everything. "No, it's not possible. My parents were killed when a drunk driver, Andrew Hayes, ran a red light, smashed and flipped our car, and I remember that night vividly," Naruto replied. "And I'm not going to believe, even from Hartley, that they were killed for any other reason." They could all see that this was a sore wound for Naruto because of the rage in his voice. "Naruto, I know Hartley isn't the most reliable source, but why would he tell Cisco this?" Linda inquired. "To do exactly this to us, to sow doubt among our ranks and give him the opportunity to flee. Well, no, that asshole is staying in the pipeline where he belongs," Naruto said as he walked away to cool himself. "Wow," Barry commented as everyone nodded, noticing Naruto's dismay at learning that his parents' accident could not have been an accident. "He actually took it a lot better than I expected," Dr. Wells remarked. "So, what should we do? Just leave it alone?" Caitlin wondered. "Or," Cisco suggested as they gazed at him, "we're looking into it." "Guys, I know I haven't been on this team for that long. But Naruto seemed adamant that he didn't want to drag this up," Linda explained. "Technically, he said he didn't want Hartley out of the pipeline, and he won't, I promise," Cisco added. "Cisco, you understand what Naruto meant," Caitlin said. "I know, but if Hartley is correct, Naruto deserves answers. I mean, he's been there for all of us since he joined the team, so Naruto deserves answers," Cisco remarked. "Cisco is correct. He's been there for us since the beginning, and we owe it to him to get to the bottom of this," Barry added. "But we must also respect his wishes," Caitlin said. "And we will. I'm not saying we'll let Hartley out because we won't, but we'll look into things from our end. We do know 2 police officers who could do some digging," Cisco replied as they stared at Barry. "All I'm saying is that we look it over and, if nothing appears to be wrong, we leave it alone." "And what if something is weird?" Linda inquired. "Then we inform Naruto," Cisco explained. "In fact, what if we tell Naruto and it leads him down a path of vengeance?" Dr. Wells inquired. "And by vengeance, I mean the most brutal and lethal kind." "Do you really think Naruto would go that far?" Barry questioned. "I believe that if Naruto continues on this path, he may not emerge as the same person we all know," Dr. Wells warned them. "Then we don't send him down that dark path," Barry explained. "I'll talk to Joe and see if there's anything I can find out on my end." Barry returned to the CCPD and spoke with Joe about what Cisco had informed him, as well as requesting the case file from the accident. Joe returned from the records room and handed Barry the file. "Here," Joe replied as Barry took it and examined it. "Thank you," Barry remarked as he reviewed the data from the arresting officer, CSU, and medical examiners. "So, can I ask why you're looking over the file on Naruto's parents' death?" Joe inquired as Barry turned to face him. "Hartley told Cisco that their deaths could have been caused by something other than a drunk driving accident," Barry explained. "Like a deliberate accident? Damn, how is Naruto taking the news?" Joe inquired. "He's in denial, and to be honest, we're not sure how to react," Barry explained. "Well, everything seemed to be on the up and up, Barry. His parents were killed due to injuries sustained in the accident. Hayes hit their front end of the car with enough force and speed causing it to flip. His parents died on impact and Naruto was saved because he was in the back," Joe explained. "I know, but with everything that's been going on, we just want to make sure," Barry said. "Do you think you can get me to talk to Hayes?" Joe responded as they drove to Iron Heights. "Yeah." As the cop at the front desk saw them enter, they parked and walked up to the security barrier. "Twice in 1 week, Detective West. What's the occasion?" "Cop work, Higgins. Keeps everyone busy. This is CSI Barry Allen. He was here before," Joe stated as Higgins nodded at Barry, who nodded back. We need to see one of your inmates, Andrew Hayes, and speak with him," Barry stated. "What's this all about?" Higgins inquired. Just a few questions we believe only he can answer," Joe explained. "Well, if you're looking for answers, you should get a Ouija board, because Hayes hung himself in his cell a week ago," Higgins remarked. "What?" Barry inquired. "Yeah, we did morning roll call and some guards discovered his body strung up in his cell," Higgins explained as Joe and Barry exchanged glances. "His body is in the morgue awaiting transport to the funeral home. Is there anything else I can do for you, Detective?" "Yeah. Has Hayes had any visitors in his time here?" Joe inquired as Higgins pulled out the visitor's log and went to a page from a week earlier. "Yeah, he gets 1 visitor a week, his daughter, Anna Hayes," Higgins remarked as Joe and Barry headed to see her at her apartment. Joe knocked on the door while he and Barry stood in the hallway. My name is Joe West, and I'm a detective with the Central City Police Department. Please open the door, Joe stated as they waited for a response, and the door opened to reveal a 22-year-old woman. Ms. Hayes, I'm Detective Joe West, and this is CSI Barry Allen. We're here to talk to you about your father, Andrew Hayes, Barry began as Anna opened the door and gazed down the corridor. Come in, Anna said as Joe and Barry entered a small apartment with photos of her and her father before he went to prison. I'm guessing this is about his alleged suicide. Barry and Joe exchanged glances before turning to face her. You don't believe your father killed himself? Barry inquired. I know he didn't, he would never do that. When I found out about his death, I went to the cops, the DA's office, hell, anyone who would listen, but they didn't believe me, Anna stated as she took a deep breath and moved over to an old photo of her and her father when she was a child. When my mother died, we both took it hard, but he did everything in his power to support me. Ms. Hayes, you seem fairly certain that your father was not suicidal, and you saw him a week before his death. How did he appear? Joe inquired. Anxious but determined. When I went to see him, he told me that he would be leaving soon and that things weren't as I thought. I didn't understand at first until I got this. Anna stepped over to her kitchen table and held up an opened manila envelope. My father instructed his lawyer to have this sent to me if he died. When she handed Joe the packet, he noticed it contained a DVD. What's on it? Joe inquired. As Barry and Joe exchanged glances, Anna added, the truth. Barry obtained Anna's consent to burn a duplicate, and they returned it to Star Labs. Joe returned to the CCPD for more information on Hayes, and when they returned, everyone but Naruto was in the cortex, ready to see the film. So, what do you think's on this? Linda inquired, holding the DVD. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's important. It was given to Anna by her father's lawyer in case something happened to him, Joe explained. Sounds like something he wanted to keep hidden, Dr. Wells observed. But what? What could this guy have that's so important? Cisco wondered as he took Linda's DVD. What could who have, Cisco? They wondered as they turned around to see Naruto standing at the doorway. You should seriously consider installing a door there, Joe suggested. Look, Naruto, it's not what. Save the excuse, I overheard everything. Naruto explained as he approached them and seized the DVD from Cisco. I thought I told you guys to just leave this alone. You should know better than that, Naruto, Cisco responded, as Naruto was not amused, and Cisco immediately regretted speaking. It's not funny, Cisco. I told you guys I didn't want to drag this up. I've made my peace with it already, Naruto explained. Really, Barry remarked, because it doesn't sound like that to me. You wouldn't be this tense if we didn't know you. You're talking about the man who murdered my parents. If anyone understood why I wouldn't want to talk about it, I'd think it'd be you, Barry, Naruto explained. And we understand, but if there's anything more to it, you deserve to know the truth, Caitlin remarked as she rose up and moved over to him. Just because I know the truth doesn't mean I don't want to help Ronnie any less. It's not that, Caitlin, Naruto remarked as he scratched his eyes and sighed deeply. When my parents died, I went to a dark place, and I'm more afraid that if I go back down the rabbit hole, I might not come out. They could all sense the terror in his voice as Naruto struggled with everything in front of him. The notion that his parents were not slain by mistake and that if he discovered what happened, he might not be the same guy. Dr. Wells approached him and said, Naruto, I understand what you must be going through. Believe me, I'm among the few that do. After what happened with Tess, I wasn't the same after. The darkness, the anger, the grief, and loss I went through. It changes someone. But you are different. You may have a darkness inside of you, Naruto, but the light outshines that. And no matter what may happen, nothing will change that. Naruto sat down on a chair and said, play it. Linda sat next to him, holding his hand as Barry patted his shoulder. Cisco inserted the DVD, and it began playing, with a black screen before revealing Hayes in front of a computer. Anna. It's Daddy, Hayes strained to say, and they noted Naruto straining with his emotions. Linda extended her hand and took Naruto's hand in hers as he smiled and kissed her hand. If you're watching this, it means I'm dead. I know, it sucks. I'm not sure if you'll get this tomorrow or 0.30 years from now, but I want you to know the truth. I didn't kill that couple. The husband and wife. I didn't do it. And I know it'll mean nothing coming from me. But I'm sorry. I would never take away someone's parents. I'm sorry for all the birthdays I missed. Everyone took in the news that the man who murdered Naruto's parents in a drunk driving accident claimed to not having killed them. Could he possibly be telling the truth? Well, I wasn't expecting that. Cisco paused the video. Linda noticed Naruto struggling with this new information. Are you alright, Naruto? She said as Naruto glanced at the television and at the face of the man who murdered his parents when he noticed something. On the day of the accident, February 15, 2012, the digital clock in the room displayed 11:10 p.m. He also took note of the window in the corner with a view of the city. Naruto inquired, "Barry, did Anna tell you where this message was recorded?" She said it was at their old Bleecker Street apartment," Barry explained. "That's downtown. The accident happened at 11:27 p.m. on Main Street in the restaurant district," Naruto remarked as Joe looked at the footage and noticed the clock reading 11:10 p.m. "It's a 30-minute drive from there to Main Street. There's no way he could have been in the car during the accident if that time is correct," Joe explained as everyone recognized what was going on. This was recorded the day of the accident. February 15, 2012, 11:27 p.m. was the time of the accident. This is 17 minutes before it happened. There's no way he could have recorded this and got into Main Street to get in the truck that hit the car. Which means whoever did kill my parents got away with it and is still out there. Naruto stated that he knew his parents were killed on accident, and the assassin was still at large. XXXXX line break. Everyone was reeling at the revelation that the man accused of murdering Naruto's parents had been lying all along and had taken the fall for the crime. Based on the evidence, it appeared that the tragedy was not an accident but rather a premeditated and deliberate murder. While Cisco worked on his end to figure out more, Joe and Barry proceeded to the CCPD to find out more about the accident. Naruto was sitting in a chair near the med bay, still processing the information. His elbows were resting on his legs, his hands clasped together, and he was simply sitting and pondering. Cisco was following up on a lead and delving into Hayes' past, with Caitlin and Dr. Wells assisting him. Linda had gone to CCPN to locate anything that could aid with the hunt for whatever they could on Hayes and what was going on at the time of the tragedy. Caitlin looked up from her computer to see Naruto alone, deep in concentration, looking at an old photo on his phone. She stood up and approached him, only to find him staring at an old photo of his parents from when he was a child. "Hey," she remarked as Naruto raised his head to gaze at her, "You okay?" "I honestly don't know," Naruto admitted as he stowed his phone. "I'm not sure which is worse, that my parents' accident wasn't an accident or that the person who caused it is still out there." Naruto. "You know we'll find out what really happened that night," Caitlin remarked as Naruto gazed at her. "That's what worries me. No one would commit this kind of conspiracy and kill their scapegoat unless it was something that needed to be buried. What the hell kind of conspiracy got my parents killed, and more importantly, does it have anything to do with what's happening to me?" Naruto asked, as Caitlin was at a loss for words. "I think I've got something," Cisco stated as they all stared at him. They all went over to the computer to witness Cisco hacking. "Okay, this took some time, but after some computer trespassing, I think I figured out more about what was going on with Andrew Hayes. I did some digging and discovered some irregularities with his financials a few years ago." Naruto inquired, "What kind of irregularities?" "The kind of serious debt. It appears that Hayes' job wasn't enough to cover expenses for his daughter to attend college, and with her scholarship only being a partial one, he needed money. He took out loans and then tried to pay them off with gambling, which didn't work," Cisco said as they looked at his financials on the computer. "He was just a regular guy who got dealt a bad hand," Naruto explained as they examined him. "But why him? Why as a scapegoat, and why go through all this trouble? How does a guy with debt end up taking the fall for my parents' accident?" "Well, to try to pay off his debts, Hayes turned to illegal gambling, and the hole grew deeper and deeper," Cisco explained. "Perhaps that's how it all started," Caitlin speculated. As Joe and Barry entered, they heard, "It is. When he was brought in, we found an old copy of Hayes' financials. He got even more in debt, and that's how they got him. But then we saw a list of transactions that shows he might have been their inside guy at the docks, where he worked as a foreman, and his financials then showed deposits of $9,950 on a bi-weekly basis that weren't coming from his job. It was just under $10,000, so there was no chance of tipping off the SEC or FBI. Someone knew what they were doing and wanted to stay out of trouble," Dr. Wells explained. "Where was the money coming from?" Naruto inquired. Joe replied, "From the Otogakure Miyagi Import Company," as everyone knew the name. "Miyagi Tea Import Company," Naruto said as Joe nodded, realizing Naruto had made the same link he had. "Why does that name sound familiar?" Cisco inquired. Joe explained, "It's the name of a front used by the Japanese Yakuza. And it's also where Kabuto used to meet with Orochimaru when I was in college," Naruto explained as he exited the brain. "Where is he going?" inquired Barry. "I have a feeling," Dr. Wells stated as they examined the video cameras. Naruto made his way through Star Labs until he reached the accelerator ring. The doors opened when he punched a few buttons on the console. As Naruto glanced at him, the accelerator ring door opened and Kabuto's containment cell was hauled forward. Kabuto was as peaceful as could be in his cell. His hoodie was down, allowing Naruto to see that his body had not transformed anymore, leaving him to resemble a half-man, half-white snake. He was seated on the ground with his back against his cell, reading a book. Kabuto smirked when he saw Naruto outside his cage, his glasses on the bridge of his nose. Well, this is a surprise. For a cell, this is quite cozy, Kabuto commented as he noticed Naruto was upset. So, what brings you to my little humble abode? Naruto smirked as he continued, Otogakure Miyagi Import Company. One of your father's fronts. One of his many fronts. If you're looking for information to get him arrested, I'm afraid it won't do you much good because my father constantly changes his operations to the point where the information I give you now would be useless. Kabuto proudly smirked. But that's not why you're here. You're here to learn more about Andrew Hayes, the man charged with your parents' murder. Do you know about that? Naruto inquired, as Kabuto laughed. Oh, Naruto, for someone so intelligent, you don't seem to grasp the obvious. I was a part of my father's organization and was privy to many things. I will say that I did try to plead for your parents' case. They were fairly good people. But, business is business, Kabuto remarked. Bullshit. My parents were world-renowned scientists who were completely content with their lives. How could any of their work have gotten them involved with the Yakuza? Naruto said, as Kabuto laughed. No, they didn't work for the Yakuza. They worked for my father and his organization, Kabuto explained. What are you talking about? Your father is a Yakuza boss, Naruto retorted as Kabuto laughed his buttocks off, prompting Naruto to become enraged and punch the door to his cell. What's so amusing about it? Oh, how little you actually know. I'm sure this doesn't happen very often, Kabuto smiled at Naruto. My father may have Yakuza ties, but he's not a Yakuza member. They're just a means to an end, providing money, resources, and allies to the organization my father belongs to, which is far deadlier. What organization? Naruto inquired as Kabuto smirked. Tell me. As Naruto opened his cell door, Kabuto shouted, No. Naruto marched in and punched Kabuto across the face, knocking him to the ground. Naruto threw Kabuto into the wall and hit him in the face again. Kabuto chuckled, blood trickling from his mouth. Oh, I guess the Naruto I know isn't so squeaky clean anymore. Tell me what you know, yelled Naruto as he pounded Kabuto in the face once more. Kabuto vomited out some blood and a tooth while laughing in Naruto's face. I can't tell you what I don't know, Kabuto said as Naruto kneed him in the gut and threw him into the wall. I'm learning to live with a lot, Naruto muttered as he started beating the holy crap out of Kabuto with speed punches that hurt like hell even with Kabuto's upgraded physiology. Caitlin yelled into the intercom as they watched on the monitors, Naruto, stop! Naruto, stop! You're killing him. Naruto continued to bash him until he knocked him to the ground and began striking him in the face. Naruto, stop! Linda exclaimed, he's gonna kill him. Naruto continued to violently beat Kabuto in the face with his bare fists, turning Kabuto's face into a gory mess while Barry, Cisco, and Joe hurried to the pipeline. Joe and Barry tried to pull Naruto away from him, but Naruto was tenacious and tried to break free. Naruto, stop! Joe yelled as he tried to yank Naruto back, but he was as stubborn as a wild animal. Naruto, you don't want to do this, Barry exclaimed as they finally got him off Kabuto and out of the cell so Cisco could close it. No, yelled Naruto as the pipeline door closed. What did you do? Stopping you from making a terrible mistake, Barry replied as Naruto pushed past them and returned to the cortex. He went over to the med bay and fetched a paper towel to wipe the blood from his fist. Dr. Wells inquired, what was that, Naruto? I was interrogating, gathering information, Naruto explained. That wasn't interrogation, Naruto, it was just brutal anger and aggression, and it served no purpose other than to fuel more anger and aggression, Dr. Wells replied as Naruto gazed at him. It's not as if he didn't deserve it, Naruto pointed out. That's not the point, Naruto. You were going to kill Kabuto in there for information he didn't know. It was reckless, stupid, and most importantly, it didn't help us get any new information about what happened. I've always told you to use your head in situations like this, but you just let your emotions dictate your judgment. Dr. Wells chastised him. I don't care what happens as long as we find out who killed my parents, Naruto responded. And what did you find out? Dr. Wells exclaimed as Naruto snapped. AAARRGGGHH. Naruto flipped the medical gurney in pure hatred, forcing everyone to scream in fear and move back instinctively. In a fit of wrath, Naruto toppled the gurney, destroying a slew of glass, beakers, and tables before unleashing a speed punch and slamming a cabinet. I don't care. I just want to find the son of a bitch who killed my parents. Naruto slammed the wall and continued beating his fists against it, his breathing becoming labored. I'm so angry I can hardly breathe. He's been out there for nearly 2 years, and every second he's still free is another second he can hurt someone I care about, or someone I love, Naruto exclaimed as he expelled his rage and began to calm down. Naruto. Believe me, I know exactly what you're going through, but this isn't who you are, Barry explained. I need to find the son of a bitch who did this, Naruto remarked. And we will. We will avenge your parents' deaths and obtain justice for them, but if they were here right now, they'd tell you exactly what I'm about to tell you. You cannot forget who you are. And you can never become the people who did this, Dr. Wells remarked as Naruto gazed at him. I promise you that we will get to the bottom of this, find out who is behind it all, and get justice for your parents. Right. Naruto took a long breath and saw his hands were still trembling from the wrath. I have to leave, I shouldn't be here. Naruto grabbed his jacket and exited Star Labs, and there was a brief moment of stillness as everyone watched him depart. Ms. Park, Drive Wells began, looking Linda in the eyes. I believe Naruto would benefit from not being alone. He needs someone to be there for him now more than ever. Linda nodded and grabbed her belongings as she followed Naruto out of the Star Labs, as Cisco and Barry approached and took the gurney. I don't think I've ever seen Naruto so enraged, Cisco stated as Dr. Wells examined the hole in the wall. Neither have I, Dr. Wells stated as everyone stared. We've unlocked Pandora's box. Cisco admitted, I should have kept my mouth shut. Caitlin stated, it's not your fault, Cisco. You did what you thought was right, and none of us could have predicted this. Naruto did it. He told us to stay away from this for a reason, and he was right. I went behind my friends' backs, and he exploded. I feel like Judas right now, Cisco explained. Cisco, come on, Naruto doesn't blame you for anything. We now know the truth because of you, Barry remarked. But at what cost? Cisco asked. You saw him just now. He went from normal to Incredible Hulk in 3 seconds and he was like a wild animal at the pipeline. As a cop, I'd advise us to keep Naruto as far away from this as possible, Joe explained. Then what do we do? Barry inquired. We help him get to the truth, but we keep an eye on him. I've known Naruto his entire life, and I've never seen him lose control like that. I believe Naruto's fears were justified. If we do find the truth, he may not come out of this the same man he was before, Dr. Wells explained. For the time being, we'll let him cool off and keep an eye on him, while Detective West and Mr. Allen continue to dig up leads on the case. Sure thing, Barry replied. And what about Naruto? Says one. One day at a time. For the time being, we'll let him cool off, Dr. Wells added as everyone nodded. What kind of lead can we get? Kabuto didn't give us anything, and it's not like we have an inside track with the Yakuza, even if it's the organization with which Orochimaru works. If the FBI can't bring them down, what can we do? Cisco wondered. From the other side, we know Hayes was a patsy and couldn't have caused the accident, but the police arrested him for the crime and everything in the police report indicates that he was responsible, Joe explained. Whoever is behind this has people working for him at CCPD, at least the detective on the case, the CSI, and some others to pull off this kind of conspiracy, Barry explained. Not to mention someone at the prison, Caitlin pointed out as they stared at her. You mentioned that Hayes said he'd be getting out, which meant he was planning to reveal the truth behind everything, and then he found himself hung up in his cell. There must be a guard at the prison who was in on this as well, Joe added as he and Barry started to work. Barry and Joe did all they could on Hayes' case to discover out who the lead detective was, and he did, but he died on the job last year. The CSI died of cancer, and everyone else was fine, leaving the guards at the prison, where they struck gold when guard Ryan Adams had a big sum of money deposited to his bank account. Of course, in little increments, as with Hayes, so no one noticed, but he was in on it, and he was the guard who discovered the body, which was strange because he was assigned to a different portion of the prison. They went to the prison to speak with him, but he never arrived for work. Cisco performed some research and monitored his cell phone as he drove to the airport. He was leaving town, but not before answering their inquiries. Ryan Adams was waiting for his flight to England at the Central City Airport lounge when he was abruptly swept away and found himself on the roof of some skyscraper. When he looked back, he noticed the Flash standing there, arms crossed. What's going on? And where am I? Adams inquired. Oh, you're still in Central City. What's the matter? Are you going to miss your flight? Flash inquired. Why are you doing this, man? Since when does a superhero kidnap an innocent man? Adams questioned. Except you're not exactly an innocent man, Adams. An innocent man doesn't quit his job so abruptly and have a mysterious amount of $200,000 transferred to his account over the course of a year, Flash said. Adams explained, my bank account and personal life are private and none of our business. They are when it comes to the murder of Andrew Hayes, the prisoner you found in his cell 3 days ago. Sorry, I meant to say the prisoner you murdered and staged to appear to be a suicide, the Flash explained. I have no idea what you're talking about, Adams admitted, sweating profusely and evidently lying but also terrified. I know Hayes was a patsy used to cover up the murder for which he was charged, and I know he was planning to come clean, but he committed suicide before that could happen, and everyone else involved in the cover-up is dead except you, he continued. But I'll be there soon. That's why I was leaving, Adams remarked, terrified. Everything was fine and peachy until Hayes decided to mature, and when they ordered me to handle him, I wasn't going to stick around and be next because I knew too much. Who ordered you to kill Hayes? Who paid you to do it? Flash inquired. I'm not sure, okay. I never dealt with the main guy, just his lackey, some Yakuza bigwig named Mizuki, Adams explained. Where can I find him? The Flash shouted, knowing Adams wouldn't reveal. If you don't tell me what I need to know, I can't help you. No one can help me. You don't know these guys, dude. I was a prison guard, I've seen bad people, but these guys, they'd give the boogeyman nightmares, Adams remarked, clearly afraid. I can protect you and help you, but I can't do either if you don't tell me what you know. If these guys are this bad and scary, you know I'm your best shot at survival, but only if you cooperate, the Flash continued as Adams groaned, believing he had no choice. Okay. But I have some conditions, and I want to deal with the DA, Adams replied, nodding. Okay, I'll take you to a detective I trust, and you can talk to him, Flash stated as he hurried Adams to the CCPD and into Joe's hands. XXXXX line break. Adams confessed to Joe in prison to his role in the death of Andrew Hayes, and Joe worked with the DA to negotiate Adam a deal for a shorter term, potentially even release, in exchange for all the information he could provide the CCPD and the DA's office on Yakuza activity in the city. Joe was in charge of his protective custody and appointed cops he trusted to keep an eye on him around the clock. Adams provided the DA with information on all Yakuza fronts in the city, as well as all of the members he dealt with. It was a lot of useful information, but the connection to Mizuki and the persons responsible for the cover-up, that was another story. The large raid on the Yakuza front netted them a large number of agents, but street camera footage showed Mizuki had departed an hour earlier and was on the run. So, Team Flash, without Naruto, was in the Cortex looking for him. Anything? Barry inquired, shaking his head. No, facial recognition doesn't recognize him yet, Cisco explained. Mizuki is a Yakuza, so he understands how police work. He'll want to avoid cameras and keep his face covered at all times to avoid being seen, Joe explained. I have nothing on ATM, credit cards, and his cell phone, Caitlin explained. He got rid of it. He'd know how the cops would try to track him, Joe explained. How can we find him then? Linda wondered. He'll want to get out of town, Joe predicted. CCPD will have officers at all bus depots, train stations, and the airport. Linda added as they gazed at her, he'll be expecting that. I've written enough crime articles to know that seasoned criminals like Mizuki understand how police work. If you want to catch a criminal, you'll have to do something he won't expect you to do. And what would that be? Cisco inquired as Linda shook her head. I'm not sure, she said, taking a long breath. Okay, let's think about this. Mizuki knows that the Yakuza are done in Central City, and he'll want to get out of town, Joe stated. That leaves us with dozens of options. The CCPD has all of the bridges and tunnels under heavy surveillance and patrol, as well as the airport, train station, and bus station, Barry explained. How else can he get out of town? Unless he sprouted wings or something, he's stuck here, Caitlin stated as Cisco had a thought. Perhaps by helicopter. Cisco got on the computer and did some research, bringing up a map of all the heliports in the city, which there were around a dozen of. That's brilliant. If helicopters fly below 1,300 feet, they don't have to call in their position, only their destinations and any number of passengers, Wells said as Cisco investigated and discovered that all 12 heliports were closed with no flights out. Cisco remarked, well, that struck out. Perhaps not, they heard as they turned around to see Naruto standing at the Cortex's entrance. If anything, the police will ground all air traffic in and out of the city so Mizuki can't flee, but that doesn't mean he won't try. Dr. Wells inquired, Naruto, what are you doing here? Seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? Naruto asked, holding up a copy of the Central City Picture News with the headline about Adams' arrest and statement in the murder of Andrew Hayes, as well as the information that Adams killed Hayes because he was going to reveal who was really responsible for the deaths of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. The article also described how the material was used to bring down a number of Yakuza fronts. I'm here to help. Naruto, maybe it's a good thing you're not here right now, Barry suggested. Would you want me to say the same thing to you if the Reverse Flash was here? Naruto inquired after a brief moment of reflection on Barry's part. No, But you also told me a while ago that having a partner means having someone there to handle the things the other can't, and I understand that now. Let me handle this, Barry said as their system alerted them. Bank robbery at Central City National Bank. 5 robbers have over 20 hostages. Police and ESU are already on the scene and under fire, Cisco added. Fine. If you don't want me here, I guess I'll go keep the city safe, Naruto muttered, grabbing his suit and speeding out. Caitlin stated, I have a bad feeling about this. As Impulse raced through the city, he noticed the police and ESU under fire from the bank robbers. Impulse flew through the air, swerving to avoid the bullets and making his way into the bank. He then flew past the bandits, stealing their weapons before hitting them all with a right cross to the face and tying them up with rope. Done, he thought to himself as he untied the hostages. You 5 must be some serious idiots to rob a bank in this city. Well, we didn't have a choice, one of them remarked, looking at Impulse. What exactly do you mean? He inquired. We all got a call on our phones telling us to rob this bank and make hell for the cops or our loved ones would be killed, he explained as Impulse realized the whole thing was a ruse. He sped out of the bank as the cops arrived and captured the criminals, skidding to a halt in an alley down the block. Guys, the robbery and shootout were all planned by Mizuki, Impulse explained. Linda questioned, why would he do that? To draw police and men away from any area where he could make his escape. Cisco, where's the nearest heliport? Impulse pondered. Cisco paused because doing so may put Naruto on another frenzy. Cisco, we don't have time. If we don't do something now, we'll lose him, Impulse said as Dr. Wells nodded to Cisco and searched the room quickly. The Adams and O'Neill heliport is 4 blocks away from the bank, and all of the police cars in that area have been called away for the robbery, Cisco explained. I'm on it, Impulse replied as he sped to the heliport, his eyes flashing with lightning. Dr. Wells stated as Barry nodded, Mr. Allen, go after him. Barry. Don't let him make a mistake he'll come to regret. I won't, Barry responded, grabbing his suit and speeding for the heliport. Mizuki and a small number of his Yakuza men arrived at the Adams and O'Neill heliport and killed the heliport workers as well as the receptionist so there were no witnesses. Mizuki slashed the pilot's throat with his sharp kunai knife and hurled his body away. It's not a good day without a little murder. Contact the 8 and let them know we're on our way to Starling to see Orochimaru, he said to one of his men, who nodded, but a blur rushed past and stole his phone. Mizuki, they said as they turned to face Impulse. Well. Impulse live in the flesh, Mizuki laughed. I have to admit, I expected you to be taller. Not that it matters because you'll be dead in minutes. I don't think so. You're not going anywhere. You have a lot of deaths to account for, Impulse replied. I have a lot of deaths on my hands, and yours will be next, Mizuki stated as he directed his soldiers to commence fire, but Impulse dashed out of the way. The man who brings me his dead cowl gets a bonus. As Mizuki's men opened fire, Impulse rushed around the heliport in circles, but he was too quick for them to obtain a clear shot. Impulse raced through one of Mizuki's guys, knocking his rifle away, kicking out his leg, and kneeing him in the face. He then sped up to another guy, grabbed his rifle, broke his arm, threw him to the ground, and stomped on his face before fleeing to avoid being shot. The Flash then flew into the scene, disarming and knocking out some of Mizuki's men. Impulse rushed by, knocking down the last of Mizuki's soldiers before coming to a halt on the heliport. As he cautiously approached Mizuki, he gazed at him with solemn hatred. Alright, this should be fun. Mizuki then pulled out a revolver and fired a bullet, which Impulse stopped with his bare palm. He then fired till his clip was empty but hit nothing. He hurled his kunai knife, but Impulse caught it in his hand before it could strike him. Yeah, I can do that, too. Impulse shouted this as he flung it back at Mizuki, hitting him in the leg and knocking him to the ground. He approached Mizuki as Mizuki pulled out a replacement pistol, but Impulse kicked it out of his grasp and punched him across the face with speed. Mizuki sprang up and launched a punch, but Impulse grabbed his hand, twisted it, and shattered his wrist before punching him across the face again, drawing blood and causing him to spit out a tooth. You're finished, Mizuki. It's all over. You have no plans to leave. Now you're going to respond to my queries, Impulse informed him. Or, what? Mizuki mocked as Impulse seized the knife and wrenched it from his thigh, forcing Mizuki to scream in pain. Can you answer me? What do you know about Andrew Hayes and who killed Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki? Impulse yelled as he held the knife to Mizuki's throat. Impulse, please take it easy, Flash informed him. Why the hell do you care about those two? As Impulse grabbed his mask and pulled it down, Mizuki inquired. Impulse, what are you doing? Flash yelled as he took off his mask. I care because I'm their son, Naruto yelled, pricking the kunai against Mizuki's neck, drawing a little blood. Who killed my parents? Mizuki watched his expression after hearing all of this information and couldn't stop himself from laughing maniacally. Oh my god, isn't this the epitome of life's little eccentricities? I never expected to see this, and now that it's here, I couldn't be more delighted. Mizuki yelled as Naruto and the Flash were perplexed. What the hell are you finding so amusing? Mizuki laughed as Naruto yelled. Would you like to know who killed your grandfather and his wife? It was me. Mizuki yelled as Naruto halted in surprise. I was in the car that hit them. I was inclined to kill you right away after seeing you knocked out in the back of the car, but I was given specific instructions for the mission. Assignment? Assignment? In rage, Naruto punched him in the face. Was that all they did for you? It was my parents. They were good, friendly, and the best folks on the planet. Why did you murder them? Mizuki explained, because my boss wanted them dead. Who is your boss? Who is he, and why is he here? Mizuki laughed as Naruto yelled. If you think that yelling at me will get you that information, you're way out of your league, kid. I've done and been through so much that I'd never give up anything on my own. But I'll tell you. As Naruto and Flash were perplexed, Mizuki remarked with a wicked look on his face. Why? Everything you've done has been to tidy things up. You had Adams assassinate Hayes because he was about to reveal everything, so why not tell us who you work for? Mizuki chuckled as Flash inquired. Because I want you to track him down, kid. I can see it in your eyes. You desire vengeance. Vengeance was cold, bloody, and propelled by rage. I'll give you my boss's name because if you locate him, he'll kill you, and I wish I could be there to witness it. Mizuki laughed as Naruto gazed at him with soul-crushing rage. Orochimaru, the White Snake, is one of the men who ordered the hit on your parents, the one who wanted them dead. Kabuto's grandfather. Mizuki raised an eyebrow as Naruto spoke. Oh, you know his child. Let me tell you something, Kabuto is one thing, but Orochimaru is quite another. But he wasn't the only person who despised your parents. Mizuki stated. I hope you find him, kid, because he'll kill everyone you've ever loved and make you want to die. But if you manage to stop him by some way, the remainder of the 9 will finish what he started. 9. What on earth are you talking about? Naruto inquired as to what made Mizuki cackle so loudly. What the hell is so funny? You have no idea how deep you've dug yourself, kid. And I wish I could be there to witness it all blow up in your face, which I'm sure it will. But knowing that I'm sending you to your own demise is sufficient for me. Naruto punched him across the face again, this time holding the kunai up to his eye, Mizuki remarked. Don't impulse. This is not something you want to do, Flash informed him. He does, indeed. It's in his eyes. He desires the rage and resentment. You assume that just because you save people and wear that outfit makes you superior to me, but it doesn't. You're only one bad day away from becoming exactly like me. Unfortunately, I will never witness it. Mizuki then flicked the top of his upper canine with his tongue, and it chipped right off. He then chewed and swallowed the chipped off portion. See you later, youngster. I have a feeling I'll see you there shortly. I'll reserve you a seat. No. Naruto yelled as Mizuki began to shake and foam at the lips before collapsing. Cyanide pill. As Naruto straightened up, he let go of Mizuki's body. When they heard police sirens arrive at the heliport, Barry noticed Naruto get up and stare down at the knife in his hand. Naruto, we need to go. Right. He remarked this as they sped away just as the cops arrived on the scene. Team Flash gathered in the Brain of Star Laboratories to watch the news of Mizuki's death and the capture of his soldiers. While the police and the media were confused about what happened and what information Mizuki had on the Yakuza, Team Flash now knew the truth. Mizuki was the one who killed Naruto's parents in the car collision years ago, and he did it because Orochimaru commanded him to. Everything seemed to be returning to him in Kabuto, but what on earth could have made Naruto's parents the target of an assassination? The team was watching the news on a monitor when it was revealed that Mizuki had committed suicide after ingesting a deadly quantity of cyanide poison. His men were apprehended but refused to speak, leaving the police puzzled. So, is it all over? Linda inquired, as Barry shook his head no. No, the second phase of this mystery includes Orochimaru and whichever organization he works for, Barry stated. This mysterious 9 gang he belongs to. I've already done a search, and the only material I've found on a gang known as the 9 comes from an Interpol report from more than 20 years ago, Cisco stated. Joe inquired, what did it say? Nothing, except that a large cell of the Armenian mob was taken down, and one of the higher-ups mentioned something about a group called the 9. The report does not go into greater depth. It had been severely redacted, Cisco stated. That's not good, Linda stated. What on earth did we get ourselves into? It seems like ever since we started looking into this case, There has been one twist after another, Joe stated. It's safe to say that whatever reason Mizuki had for killing Naruto's parents, and whatever reason Orochimaru and this 9 group wanted them dead, it was no easy task. We've opened Pandora's box, and there's no going back. We must see this through. As Barry nodded, Dr. Wells added. That's when he realized they were missing one member. Where's Naruto? As they peered around, Barry inquired. I'll go and find him. Dr. Wells wheeled up in front of Linda, she said. I know exactly where he is. Ms. Park, I'll go see him. Dr. Wells exited the cortex and made his way to the elevator, which would take him down to Naruto's location, which was in his father's former office. He entered the room and saw Naruto sitting in his father's old chair, staring at an old photograph of him and his parents when he was a child. It was from Naruto's first encounter with Kurama. Things were so straightforward back then. Naruto examined the photograph while holding Mizuki's kunai in his right hand. He was spinning it with his finger caught through the small hole on the bottom of the blade when he stopped and tossed it towards the wall in disgust. I'd ask if you're okay, but I know you're not, Dr. Wells stated as Naruto threw down the photo and grasped his hair in frustration. I'm not okay at all. I'm angry, upset, and my heart feels like it's ready to burst. Naruto stood up and grabbed the kunai he'd thrown into the wall. But, more importantly, I'm embarrassed by myself. And pray, tell me why. Dr. Wells inquired. I allowed my rage to get the best of me. I proved Hartley correct. All these years, I've tried to show to him that I'm better than that, but I'm not. Naruto sat in the chair, grabbing his hair. I've been feeling increasingly angry since learning the truth about my parents' deaths. And now I'm conflicted because I'm not sure if I want to pursue this any further. What exactly do you mean by that? Dr. Wells was interested by Naruto's statement. Mizuki was not on the heliport. Everything he has said about me is accurate. I wanted to murder him. I wanted to slit his throat and kill him the same way he had slain my parents. I used brute and lethal force to take down those Yakuza men. Something I never thought I was capable of, Naruto stated. Dr. Wells, I stomped on someone's face. Mizuki was correct about me. Just because I wear that suit doesn't make me superior to him. I'm one bad day away from being like, and I don't want that day to come. My entire world seems to be collapsing around me. My parents were involved in something so heinous that it involved unknown criminals, and I'm trying not to believe it. I'm trying to believe Mizuki and Kabuto were lying. That it wasn't true, but I'm not sure what to believe in anymore. Dr. Wells felt a pull in his heart as he gazed at Naruto in despair, rage, sadness, and frustration. Naruto, I can't even fathom what you're going through right now. The conflict your emotions must be experiencing when you learn one thing about your parents while clinging to your recollection of who you feel they are. As Naruto peered at him, Dr. Wells removed his glasses, his eyes bloodshot from crying. I knew your parents almost as long as you did. Maybe even longer. And the only thing I can tell you is that your parents loved you. As much as anyone could have loved a person. I was present when you were born into this world. Was there when you said your first words. Was present when your father assisted you in taking your first steps. Every year, I was there when they dropped you off for your first day of school to make sure you had all you needed and were safe. The love and pride your parents had for you is something that everyone wishes they had, and losing it can feel like a part of you is missing. Regardless of what happened, I know your parents are gazing down at you and seeing the same thing I am. I now understand how your mother and father must have felt every time they gazed at you with pride. And affection. Dr. Wells drew Naruto close and hugged him, and Naruto returned the hug. Dr. Wells even shed a tear as he hugged Naruto tightly. I know you're upset. However, you should never lose faith in the individuals you know your parents to be. I know they never lost faith in you, and I haven't either. Dr. Wells told him as he hugged Naruto tightly and cried a little. The entire crew had gone through an emotional maelstrom, and everyone went home to attempt to comprehend what they had learned. Dr. Wells walked through Star Labs to the time vault. He rose up and walked over to the reverse Flash costume on the mannequin before heading up to the console and pulling up the 2024 article, Flash Missing Vanishes in Crisis, and Impulse Begs City to Keep Hope Alive. Wells looked at the front page image of Impulse before waving his hand over the console, and the image zoomed into a small blurb about Star Labs CEO Naruto Namikaze celebrating the birth of his twin son and daughter on the eve of being named the world's smartest and most philanthropic man for the third year in a row, and winning a Nobel Prize for his work on environmental reparation. Dr. Wells' delight in Naruto grew as he wiped a stray tear that had gathered in the corner of his eye. When he looked at his hand, he noticed a tear smear, which startled him. Gideon's hair suddenly appeared on the console. Is everything all right, Dr. Wells? She inquired. For the first time in all these years, I'm not certain, said Dr. Wells. What seems to be troubling you, Dr. Wells? Dr. Wells grinned as Gideon inquired. If I'm feeling what I think I'm feeling, it's pride and love for Naruto. Dr. Wells grinned as he examined the photograph of Impulse. I believe you were correct in that my trip to this time period had unintended consequences, but I had no idea how prevalent those changes were with Naruto. And how they would affect me as well. What exactly do you mean by that, Dr. Wells? Gideon inquired. I've been thinking about this since I arrived, and today I realized that the Impulse I know from the future and this one in this timeline are very different people. From what I recall, the Impulse was a rude, smart-talking confident lad who was nothing more than a sidekick. But Naruto, he showed incredible talent, great grit, certain shortcomings, but most importantly, he's not the same man I've despised for years. Dr. Wells was not lying about what he had previously told Naruto. He was close to Naruto due of his unusual situation, but he now openly proclaimed that he considered Naruto to be his son. Are you having second thoughts, Dr. Wells? Gideon inquired as Dr. Wells paused for a moment. No, the strategy has not altered. Dr. Wells informed her. Please notify me if there are any further changes to the timeline. Of course, Dr. Wells. She responded as he walked away. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thank you for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this part of the story, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support. And have a great day.